Hey guys, so what is up? RedPandaMining here. How you guys all doing? I hope you're all doing really well and having a really great day. In this video, I just want to explain how I power all of my mining rigs here in my crypto mining basement. And this is something now I've been doing a few years. The same configurations. I've added a few more outlets, actually, more 240 volt 30 amps. But I've been doing the exact same thing for the past couple years now, and it's been working awesome. And I just want to explain how I have everything, because people continuously ask me, how do I power my mining rigs, and saying, how come you haven't tripped any breakers or anything like that? So I'm going to explain that in this video, and I just want to have a disclaimer. I am not an electrician. I am not like anything like that, okay? I highly recommend getting an electrician to wire in whatever you need into your house before getting this kind of stuff, okay? What I am using here is all enterprise grade, industrialized style power. From the power distribution units and to the power cables that we're using, we're all using very thick gauged cables, all right? And so I want to explain the whole thing here, and just so people can understand how I power all these mining rigs, so that I am not using regular 120 volt power, all right? This is your typical household plug in North America. This is 120 volt 15 amp circuit, and usually in a room like this where I'm in right now, there's going to be multiple of these outlets in the wall, but they share the same 15 amp breaker, which can theoretically go up to 1800 watts, but there's an 80% rule, which we can only go up to about 1500 watts, all right? That's something I would say a lot of people do, because just to stay safe, you do not want to go over the 80% rule on a single circuit. Again, multiple rooms may share the same circuit, so then all these outlets that you have in your room, again, I'm explaining this because people talk about tripping breakers and stuff, because again, those circuits are shared amongst in the same room normally in your house. Okay, so why I have this setup is because I have 240 volt 30 amp breakers, okay, circuits, all right? I have 3 of them, and each 30 amp 240 volt breaker can handle up to 7200 watts, which is 30 amps times 240. All right, you do the math there, you'll get 7200 watts. And again, there's an 80% rule thing, so I like to do 80% of 7200 watts, which is going to be about 5760 watts on each 30 amp circuit. All right, so right now, you guys can see, I have 3 plugs here, and each of these go into the main circuit panel, and I'll show you the circuit panel right now. Okay, so here is the main circuit panel. Again, always hire an electrician to do this work if you guys are going to be having this installed. So I have 3 of these 30 amp breakers, all right, and these are rated at 240 volt. So there's basically 2 hots going into each of these. And so there is a 10 gauge cable. It's an indoor 10-2 gauge cable going into the breakers, all right? So basically it's 2 hots going into each of these breakers, all right? And those 10-2 indoor cables are going into each of these outlets here, all right? These are the L630 plugs that go into the silver housings here. And then I have 3 PDUs, all right? Each of these PDUs, which are called power distribution units. You guys can see here, this is the one I got from nerdgears.com. I'm not sure if they have any in stock, but this is a 240 volt 30 amp PDU, all right, from nerdgears.com. And then I have 2 more on this side here. These are triplet PDUs. I'll have it linked down below. I don't believe they sell these ones anymore. I believe there's a new version of these triplet PDUs, okay? So I'll have it linked down below. You guys can see what I'm talking about. But I have 2 of them here, and so I can theoretically get up to about 5760 watts on each of these triplet PDUs. Very industrialized, very very enterprise grade, very safe. You know, they're rated for high wattage and all that kind of stuff. So I trust Triplet, as a good brand to have as a power distribution unit for your mining rigs. And I know a lot of other people use these as well. But yeah, you guys can see, I just have it like zap strapped to my shelf, just, elevated. So, because you guys can see my mining rigs, I have them all over, right? And I have my power cabling all over the place as well. Just a quick thing, I know it looks very messy. I normally have all my wires all cable managed, but I learned that since I switch things around all the time, I better not cable manage, because it is such a pain to take out the zap straps every single time. You guys know I did make a video of doing cable management on one of my shelves before, and man, it looked really nice, but it was such a pain. It was such a pain to take out because I had to take everything out before. Anyways guys, and then from the power distribution units, I have the cabling that goes into the mining rigs. Now I got all of my C13 to C14 cables from Infinite Cables. All right, they are I guess a distributor for electrical cabling, networking. I'm not sponsored by them, but I got these for a really good price. These are 14 gauge C13 to C14. Okay, so some people may be asking what C13 to C14 looks like. The other ends, all right, so here we go. So C14 is, I believe, this end, and then C13 is this end. Okay, so this is a very common cable for using 240 volt 30 amps on those kind of PDUs, all right. And here's an example Infinite Cables package. All right, this is the one that I got from them, and yeah, this is really high quality, able to handle about 15 amps at this is a 14 gauge cable. Okay, so this can handle a lot of wattage. All right, so 15 amps times 240, you guys can do the math there. But yeah, that's how I have all of my mining rigs here powered. Okay, so the greatest thing about, you know, having 240 volts 30 amps is essentially you just can have more power capacity versus having the 120 15 amp circuits. You can barely have any mining rigs on here because then you'll just trip the breaker, right? Just not enough capacity. But with the 240 volt 30 amp, you will essentially get 4 times more the power capacity off a single circuit. But then again, you need to have it all wired in. You need to get a proper electrician to wire your 30 amp breaker and circuit wherever you want in the house, and then you need to plug in your PDU into the outlets, okay, and then have all of your mining rigs plug into the PDUs. Okay guys, so yeah, that's basically it. I hope I explained that correctly. Again, I'm gonna say it again. Have an electrician do your work, get in the 30 amp circuit. It's basically like a dryer plug in North America, and an oven plug or whatever that you normally have in your house, okay? But normally, like I said, in North America, we have these 120 volt 15 amp circuits, which you can really only have depending on how much power your mining rigs take, okay? And nowadays as well, some power supplies don't even run on 120 volts, so you need to have 240 volts in order to run, you know, power supplies like this. I got these power supplies from Alibaba, and this is a 2000 watt Thermaltake PSU. I've had really great experience with this, but again, it only runs on 240 volt, okay? So you need to have that wired in order to run those kind of power supplies. And I guess another positive thing is that 240 volt is also a little bit more efficient from what I've been reading. So there's always going to be resistance, and it depends on how long your cabling is. All right, if you're going like a couple hundred feet or 100 feet, you're probably going to have some voltage drop from what I've seen. All right, I actually have that situation happening in my crypto mining barn, which I'm going to make another video showing how I power my mining rigs over there. I like to make these videos because I just want to explain power, as it is very important for those that want to get into mining and just understand how mining rigs are powered these days for some people. I know that a lot of people have upgraded to 240 volt, which is just, it's game changing, it's life changing, because you can just have more mining rigs and just more capacity. And then finally, you're just using a lot better equipment, all right, like triplet PDUs, enterprise grade stuff. This stuff isn't going to go on fire as long as you're not going over the rated amps on these PDUs, okay? I mean, I'm sure they'll just shut off, like the breaker will trip. It's nice to see how much amps you're using so that you are not going over the, you know, the 80% rule, like I said, the 5,760 watts on 240 volt 30 amp, okay, single phase. Okay guys, so that's it. Let me know your thoughts of if anything I explained wrong, and I'll have links down below of, you know, where I got my PDUs and my C13 to C14 cables. But yeah, if you guys have any other things you'd like to explain, let me know in the comments down below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one, and peace out.